Welcome, everybody, to the second episode of the brand new T3 Alpha Show. My name is Michael Camo, and I am here with maybe one of my best trading friends in the universe, Sami Abusaad. Now, Sami is a true American success story. He came to America at 18, not speaking English. He then graduated with honors in accounting. And if you don't know, accounting is by far the hardest business degree. He became a CPA. He worked for a Big Four firm. Then he said, life is too boring. I need to become a professional trader. And now you can see he's living in a penthouse outside of San Francisco. That background is real, correct?
Of course, it's real.
Do people often ask, is that a fake background?
I did get one comment on YouTube one time, and the comment was like, look at this guy using a green screen or green room.
Okay, so we kind of want to wind back a little bit. So Sami and I have had like a million discussions about trading and technical analysis, but I want everybody to get to know the man because, like I said, you have this very unusual background where you went from accounting, which is a very like rigid, routine-based profession, whereas trading is more for renegades. So how did you make that switch?
So I worked for KPMG and Big Four accounting firm, and then with my buddy, with my school classmate, and within the first week, I remember going to his cubicle, and I told him within the first week, no amount of money is worth this. That's what I told him. That I knew I had signed up for the wrong profession because it was just like, crunching numbers, auditing books, and I knew I had signed up for the wrong thing because that's not what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to do something more interesting. I did major in accounting because it was math and it was practical. I didn't want to major in math because my advisor told me if you major in math, that's fine, but you have to do higher ed. Otherwise, a math degree, bachelor degree with a major in math is not going to get you anywhere. So I didn't want to really do a couple more years of college, and I decided, accounting is practical. It deals with, real world problems, and it's all math, which is what I gravitated towards. But then when I did it in corporate America, I didn't like it at all. I lasted 4 years because it was hard to walk away. I mean, I was a straight A student, did my work to get in, and then once I'm in, I wanted out. And so I decided and then, it's just a long story, read about, got involved in the stock market because I saved up some money and I didn't know what to do with it. And I read about Warren Buffett. And so that got me intrigued. And then, of course, once you start trading, and I did it on the side while still working for KPMG. Don't tell them, though.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm going to have to interrupt you. So
yeah,
are you doing your auditing? And I don't even know what I was in it. So I'm actually a failed accounting major. I actually quit accounting because I couldn't do it. Now, are you doing your audits and thinking about stocks during the day?
I was thinking about stocks during the day and the night, but I was doing the trading before I went to work because I live on the West Coast. So it gave me like an hour to an hour and a half. And then when I got to work or during the day, I would just log in to check on my positions because I was mostly swing trading. So it worked out initially, at least.
Oh, okay. So what makes you walk into the boss's office and actually say, I'm done?
I remember the day that I did it. I just saved up for what I calculated to be 2 years worth of living expenses. These days it wouldn't last a month, but back then, I didn't have as many responsibilities, lived in a much more modest place. And I remember thinking to myself that, I have 2 years worth of living expenses saved up. I should be able to make it within that time frame. I thought I would make it within 3 months, honestly.
Okay, so this was this 2006, 2007?
2007, early 2007.
Okay, so that was a year before the financial crisis. So was that good timing or bad timing?
It was. I think I'm not sure. I think it was bad timing because if I didn't make it, then probably the job market dried up, and I wouldn't be able to go back if I wanted to. But at the same time, it was such an amazing market if you knew what to do. Like if you were a seasoned trader, that was the best time to be trading. Probably there was no uptick. You could short a stock that was down 50%, 80%. And so it was a good time not to start, but to actually take advantage of the opportunities. And I was just starting out. And, so it wasn't, I don't know if it was a good time for somebody starting out. I don't think so. But it is what it is. You start when you start. That's life.
Okay. Did you have a plan B? Like, did you have the idea in your head this might fail?
I did. So at the time, I had just gotten my 13-year-old brother and mother also to come join me in the US, and I was supporting them financially. So I did feel a sense of responsibility that, I have to make this work or else I have to get another job. So before I quit my job, my accounting job, I did interview and I got $100,000 job in the Silicon Valley with a venture capital firm. And I told them at the time that I needed about a 3-month break. And so why did I do that? Because I wanted to see if I can make it work in those 3 months. I didn't make it work, meaning 3 months later, I was still having a hard time. But I had the trading bug. There wasn't anything in the world that was going to make me walk away. So I called them one day. To tell you the truth, to this day, I feel bad about it or embarrassed by it. 5 days before I was supposed to start with that venture capital firm, I told them, I'm so sorry, I had a change of heart. And they waited for me for 3 months. So that was awful, but I didn't feel like I had another choice. And so I told them I had a change of heart and I was going in a completely different direction. And I just stuck with trading.
Now, this, I find it, so I'll be honest, this kind of annoys me because I've done a million live streams and webinars and interviews with Sami, and I never heard this story. So we're going to have to revise his bio to former CPA. Then he turned his back on a big opportunity in venture capital to trade, even though he had to take care of his mother and his brother that just came to the country. So I think, Sami, we're going to have to... I was
embarrassed by it. I never shared it with anybody before because it's not who I am. It's not the professional way to go about things. Somebody waits for you for 3 months, and then 5 days before you're supposed to start, you call them and say, I had a change of heart. So, I've always felt bad about it.
Yeah, I mean, but so I think that's an important thing. Like, these are the types of things we need to talk about because we've all done things we're ashamed of. We've all made mistakes, and it's not, it doesn't mean it has to be the end of our story. And, maybe the venture capital firm was annoyed, but would you have really been a great performer if your heart wasn't in it and you, and you were still having, I don't know what you were trading back then, fantasies about the SanDisk chart or the AMD chart or whatever it was back then. So, you wasted their time, but but it probably worked out for everybody in the end.
Who knows? But I mean, that's not the right thing to do. And I always want to do the right thing. So I felt bad about it. And to this day, I still, again, I don't talk about it much. You've never heard me tell you this for a reason. So
we are.
I should go see a therapist about it.
No, well, Sami, I hate to, I'm going to need the name of the venture capital firm because I'm going to call them and we're going to have to get their side of the story and see if anybody was brokenhearted over it. Okay.
You would be shocked if I told you the name because you would recognize it.
Oh.
So tell me if you want the name.
You can, I'm not going to put you on the spot. If you want to share it, feel free, but I'm not going to force you.
Silicon Valley Bank. And it's not a bank, it's a venture capital firm. They just go by bank because it's Silicon Valley Bank. That's where the Silicon Valley startups actually do their banking, but they mostly support startups.
Is Silicon Valley Bank even still around? Because I know they had
No,
that
that's the one that
fiasco a
went.
couple of years ago.
Exactly. That's it. That's the firm. Now, how did they, how did they know about me, or how did I know about them? It's because they were my client 2 years earlier. They were doing a 5-year restatement, meaning they were restating their financial statements for the last 5 years. So we were working as when we were their auditors, we were working there 24/7. There was somebody not somebody, the whole team. In fact, some people logged 24 hours on their timesheets for the day. 24 hours, meaning we never left the client side. It was that crazy and hectic. And I was one of them. And then when I decided to quit, I still had my contacts from there. And I found out that they had a spot they were looking for somebody with my experience. So I contacted them, and sure enough, they were like, oh my God, yes, for sure.
Okay, all right. So this part of your the accounting part of your life, you're buried in balance sheets and cash flow statements and dealing with clients wanting to do their own creative accounting. A long time ago, I worked for a real estate company, and I remember hearing my boss arguing with the partners from the accounting firm over what's legal and what's not. So zany business in its own way. So how do you make the transition from this very rigid world where, you're following generally accepted accounting principles and SEC rules, and then you're kind of flying by the seat of your pants, risking money in trading? Like, does your brain have to start working in a completely different way?
I've always been analytical, and I think to be a good accountant, you have to be analytical. Now, most people think of accountants as like they think of people that do taxes. That's not what I did. What I did, I was an auditor, an external auditor, meaning we went to client sites and we looked at their books. Most of the time it was all digital, but sometimes it was also binders and things like that. But it's not as, it's not like tax accounting where, you're just really literally crunching numbers. We had to interview the client all the time, walk through their systems, understand their business practices, all of that stuff. So you have to actually, in order to be a good external auditor, you have to be analytical. And I've always been very analytical. And I think that's a trait that works really well in the trading industry. And so it wasn't difficult for me to transition. And I'm very, very good at pattern recognition. I just am. I don't know. And so it wasn't a difficult transition. It's also because, I was passionate about it. Like right away, I knew that's what I wanted to do right away. So it's not like I was, when it's something you're passionate about, all the work that you do, it's not really work because you're just, you might feel tired at the end, but it's not real. It's not work. It's you feel good about it. Whereas employment or doing something that you don't feel good about, that's what crushes the soul. So for me, it was an easy transition. Honestly, I thought it was an easy transition.
Okay, so now you do have a unique personality among traders because you have trade. So you have the pattern recognition seems like a very obvious necessary skill. I know you're also hyper competitive. Sami is a very, very pleasant guy, but I also know he's kind of a lunatic when it comes to the markets, where in fact, I would be shocked if we get through this interview without him making a trade. I know that he's looking at something in the market. So I know you have this, but you're also this very organized, structured person, because I'm always associating traders with being very ADHD, no attention span. But you seem like somebody who can really, really like zero in and concentrate. So do you think that's that's kind of an ideal like personality for the market?
I think so. I honestly think so. And I got my competitiveness. I don't think I was always competitive. I got my competitiveness from sports. I was trying when I was a kid. like a lot of kids, I got into sports and I was trying to become a professional athlete. And so it made me be self-driven and motivated and work really hard. And I remember during, at least in the summer months, I would practice 8 hours a day. Now the team practice would last an hour, maybe 2 hours. I would actually practice 8 hours a day on my own, 6 hours on my own. I would take my lunch with me wherever I went, because that's how driven I was. I wasn't aware of it still, that I was driven and whatever, until one time we were getting our asses kicked as a team in a basketball game, and the coach calls a timeout, and in the huddle he says, and whoever, it was an elimination game, he said, he talked about things what we were doing wrong. You guys need to box out, you need to cut, you need to get rebounds, whatever. And then he said, and listen, if we all played with heart like Sami does, we could beat any team in this tournament. And I was like, he caught me completely off guard. I wasn't aware that I played with heart. I never heard of that concept ever until he mentioned it in the huddle during timeout. And that's when I realized, oh my God, yes, I see it now. And I resented him actually after that, because I was doing it without being aware of it, which is where all the fun is. It's a lot of fun to do it it's a lot of fun to be driven and competitive and whatever without you being aware of it. It's just who you are. It's not so much fun when you become aware of something, and now it's like, I don't know, you're aware of it. So I actually did not like it. I am meeting up with that coach. He's an American coach, was a missionary at the time where he was my coach. I'm meeting with him on October 16th, actually for 3 days. He's flying into San Francisco, and I'm meeting with him. October 16th should be like a Saturday or the weekend. No, October 16th is a Thursday. So it's October 18th. So I'm actually meeting with him for the first time in 30 years, basically, because I left back home in 2001, so 24 years ago.
Well, we will have to have him on, and we'll have to get his side of the story. Okay, but I mean, it does seem like anything in life, grit is what matters more than anything else. Now, I do think there's another angle I want to explore here. Like, do you know, and it's exactly what you're talking about with playing sports, but the idea that it feels almost like play. You know, like when I was a kid playing with Legos, it could be, blink and 6 hours go by. And it's the same thing if I'm writing. I've had days where I've written for 12 or 14 hours straight, like stopping to eat and go to the bathroom, and that's pretty much it. Do you ever get the sense that you're playing when you're trading?
Don't think so, because when I get that sense, I feel a little bit that I'm being complacent or reckless. So I don't feel like I'm playing. So I like to be locked in and focused, and I'm not, I don't feel like I'm playing. Sometimes when I'm on the microphone and I'm trading, I feel like I have that playfulness, so to speak, and I'm having fun with it. But most of the time, especially if I'm just doing it on my own, I'm not on the microphone, I feel like I'm just locked in, and I'm not fooling around. I'm not playing at all.
Okay, but are you in a flow state? I think might be the best way to put it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And when so I know that you, like when you're doing your charts, you're flying through them a couple seconds each. I think, you did a video with something like 1,600 charts in, I don't know if it was 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever it was. So when whatever it is, when you're trading or doing your chart analysis, how much feeling is there versus thinking? I mean, as in, do you kind of just look at something and just get it right away?
Yes, correct. It's basically, it's recognition. I don't want to call it pattern recognition. It's just I'm seeing pictures. It's very similar to, now art is very subjective, but most of the time when you see a good piece of art, I mean, at least let's say, you have that's what you do for a living. When you see something good, you just know it. And the same with trading. I just know it. When I see a chart that's really good, I don't stop to analyze, oh, what makes it good? I don't even think about it like that. Or why is it so good? Why am I attracted to it so much? I just know it's good right away. So that's when I'm flipping through charts quickly, I'm just looking at pictures. It's like a slideshow. I'm just looking at a slideshow, so to speak. And I know when I see something really, really nice.
And do you think, does that ability just come from repetition?
I think so, but I'm not sure because I'm just like that. But I don't know if that's because I looked at millions and millions of charts, or it's because I don't know why, but it's how I view charts. And when I see students and they're analyzing the chart like at the very detailed level, and then I know they're missing the point because I never analyze. I never look at the detail. I look at the big pic. I look at the whole picture, and if I'm not sure if there's something more to it, then I can look at the detail. But I don't ever look at the detail right away unless it's like it's questionable or whatever. So I don't know.
I mean, I do think the art comparison is interesting because you know whether you like something right away. So do the good opportunities, the good charts, do they just hit you right away?
Correct. Right away. I mean, right away. It's like, it's just right away. It's insane.
So I wonder if it would be interesting if you could create an algorithm where, if you're like, let's just say you're flipping through charts where if you're looking at it for more than 5 seconds or something, it automatically just wipes it out. Now, like bringing this back to your personality, like you're a very analytical person, also a very visual person. Like, do you think people can learn that, or is it just innate? Because we often hear like anybody could do this, anybody could learn this. But I mean, like I've studied art a lot in my life and not everybody has a visual brain. They just don't. So do you think this is something anybody can learn?
I think it's similar to art. You can learn it. You can learn it somewhat. Will you be a superstar in it? Probably not, if it's not something innate. So it can be learned for sure. But if it's not innate at all, then I think it would be a difficult profession to pursue, honestly.
Okay, so you think you need some basic foundation at the least to build on.
A little bit of nature, a little bit of nurture. It's both.
Okay, all right. So just an FYI for everybody watching for the first time. So Sami is Director of Education at T3 Live, where I also work. There's a link down in the description below if you want to learn about Sami's mentorship. But, you've had a lot of students over the years, including our good friend James Rich Young. Now, is there something in common among the success stories, as in like the people who do develop good trading skills and careers? Do they have something in common?
Yes, they do. And they're usually like they have a knack for it. They're naturally inclined. They have some natural inclination for it, but they also they have the other traits that are good to have in any profession. Being responsible for taking responsibility for your results, putting in the work, loving what you do, the work that you do, in which case it becomes fun. It's not work anymore. So yes, they have the traits that we talked about, but they also put in the work because it's not work. It doesn't feel like work. It feels like it's self-improvement. It feels like you're having fun almost.
Now, I might have to push back on you a little bit there because
Go for it.
Because the learning process can be expensive. In trading, I think trading is very straight. It's very, very weird of all the things you can learn, because there are times when everything goes up. Like, for example, in 2020, at the end of 2020, I thought about becoming a professional trader because I just had 30 great trades in a row. Literally everything I picked went up, but that's because everything went up. So it's sort of, you can get fooled by the environment, but then there's also that flip side where maybe you start out trading, you lose 25, 50, $100,000, whatever it is. So like, it does seem hard. Like, do you think it's necessary to have initial success? Like, can you come back from a gigantic loss?
Yeah, I've seen people do it. I mean, James is one of them. In terms of he said $40,000 on education. I mean, and he was still not making any money. And then all of a sudden, when he attended the mentorship, I mean, he I got him on. He attended the mentorship in June, the first week of June 2019. Is that right? Yeah, 2019. And by October, I was already in touch with him about becoming a co-moderator. So that's 4 months later, 4.5. And I know by November, he was for sure a moderator, but he might have even started in October. So that's 4 months after attending the mentorship. So something clicked. So he spent $40,000 attending all kinds of courses and seminars, and then it didn't work. And then all of a sudden, something clicked for him. So, and I've seen also traders that really hit the ground running. I mean, I have one such trader friend in my room that she just picked one strategy from the TPM class that she took, and that's all she ever does. And she's been trading with me because we started about the same time, since 2007. We've been in the same room since 2007. So I went to Washington, D.C., and I spent 2 days with her and her husband. And she's not from D.C., she's from Chicago, but that was my first time going to D.C. to tour Washington, D.C. And we decided to meet up there and spend a couple of days. I got to know her even better. And she hit the ground running because she focused on a strategy that was working at the time. And then when the strategy wasn't as good down the line, she herself had gotten better and knew what to do. So, some people, if you start off losing, doesn't mean that's how it's going to be for you going forward. If you start out making money, it doesn't mean you're going to actually be a really great trader. It doesn't mean that at all. All that you need to do is to just keep improving, keep making progress. Never settle. Never think that you're good enough. Never think that you've arrived or that you've made it. Now you're, oh my God, you can brag about your success, because the moment you do, the market is watching. The moment you do, you're in for a surprise, a bad one.
Okay, that's interesting, because you just said that she picked one strategy and it's working for her. There's that quote, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. I invented a flip side to that quote. Insanity is finding something that works and not doing it over and over and over again until the end of time. But I mean, but do you think that's something that's dangerous in itself, relying on one thing?
Absolutely, because it can go away for a while. The good thing for her is that it's the strategy that she picked works intraday, but also works on the daily chart, meaning she plays reversals, climactics. So she started off trading the climactic buy setup, climactic sell setup strategy on the intraday charts. And then later on, she transitioned. She continued to do climactics. To this day, she does, but she also added another dimension to it by doing the novice gaps, the stocks that are up, and then they gap up, and then they fall apart. So that's basically a stock that's going climactic on the daily chart. So now she can do it off of at the open, off of the daily time frame, or she can do it during the day when the setup lines up. So initially, yes, she was only day trading it, but now it's she does it also off the daily chart. So she's safe. I think she's safe.
Okay. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about cryptocurrency, because I know you got started in cryptocurrency very, very early. And I think I remember in one of your weekly videos you do on YouTube, I don't remember what it was, but all of a sudden you started talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum. So when did you get into cryptocurrency?
2012.
2012.
Yes, sir.
So, and did you do something like buy $100 worth of Bitcoin and sell it for 10,000 or something?
Correct. I got $200 worth of Bitcoins, which were, no, hold on. Yeah, was $20 a share at the time. So I got 10. And I forgot about it until Bitcoin hit $1,000. And I'm like, oh my God, I got $10,000 out of a $200 investment. So I decided to sell half. And so I sold 5 Bitcoins and I kept 5. And then the 5 that I kept them on Mt. Gox. And you know what happened to Mt. Gox in 2014? Yep. Right, it was hacked. I received, so they were able to recover, I think, 200,000 Bitcoins out of the 800 or so that were stolen. And I received 0.15 of a Bitcoin last year. And I'm due to receive the rest of it. Like I'm going to get 1 Bitcoin basically out of the 5. But that's worth $100,000. So, so it worked out after all.
It's good enough to, get a new Tesla or something. Okay, but were you thinking of it as a lottery ticket, or like, were you really analyzing Bitcoin, or were you just like, all right, I'll throw a couple $1,000s and see what happens?
I like the chart. There was only like one chart provider. It was like bigcharts.com or something like this that actually had the chart for Bitcoin. And I really liked that chart. It was like that curling 20 monthly chart. And I really, really liked it. But I didn't know if it was gonna like pan out or anything like this. So I just, for fun, I got $200 worth of Bitcoin and I forgot about it again until Bitcoin started going crazy. And then that's when I realized, oh my God, those $200 are now worth $10,000. So I wasn't, at that point, 2012, I was already a professional trader, and I wasn't counting on it becoming $1 million, which it would be today.
Yeah, it's funny. Like whenever I see those posts on LinkedIn, what would you go back and tell your 18-year-old self? I'm like, don't go to college, don't get a job, just buy $100 worth of Bitcoin and try to survive for a little while, and everything will take care of itself. Okay, but do you treat cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum any different from a stock?
No, not at all. It's the same as a stock, basically. It just doesn't gap because it trades 24/7. But I got to go back and tell you how I got those 10 Bitcoins. I had a friend who was a top poker player. He still is a professional poker player. And he, before he came to my place, he went and met up with somebody at Walgreens, which was not too far from where I live. And I'm not joking at all. He bought 500 Bitcoins for $5,000. He met him on Craigslist, and they met up at Walgreens, and he transferred the Bitcoins to his wallet. And it took like 2 hours to just make that transfer. And then he handed him $5,000. And so he came to my place and told me about it. And he's the one that told me about Mt. Gox. And so he still has like 400 something Bitcoins that are locked up there, but he's going to get about 1/5. So he's already going to be worth like $20 million.
Oh my God.
I know. Crazy.
That's
the true story.
You know what I wonder about sometimes? How like speculative assets are getting stranger and stranger over time. In the 90s, it was tech stocks, then cryptocurrencies, then NFTs which is hilarious because now
That
it's
was
funny.
hilarious.
We're seeing stories about people they paid $120,000 or whatever it was for their Bored Ape NFT. I was actually thinking about looking into NFTs to see, but you got to think where somebody's going to invent something even dumber than NFTs.
Yeah, NFTs was probably the lowest point I've seen in the stock market.
We will, but Sammy, I have faith in humanity. We will top NFTs in stupidity, one way or another. Okay, I want to switch gears and talk about like algorithmic trading. So we're not going to ask Sammy to reveal his secret sauce, but we have talked about how you've gotten into algorithmic trading. Now, are you basically letting a computer trade for you?
Correct. Now I pick the stocks that I wanted to, and I pick the rules also. And then the algo does its thing.
Okay, so but are you actually letting it buy and sell?
Correct.
Now, do you find that scary at all?
So it depends. I mean, it depends. Sometimes it can be scary if you're not paying attention or if it glitches. So, so right now I got like, if the bot misfires, I immediately get an alert on my phone. So I have the phone with me right here.
Okay, yeah, because we've seen major investment banks, their software glitching or even people doing a fat finger. But, is it possible the algo could buy like 2,000 shares of Tesla or something without you knowing it?
No, unless I'm letting the bot trade Tesla or letting it run on Tesla. But yeah, it's not going to buy something that I didn't actually pre-populate.
Okay, so what led you to get into developing your own algo?
The first part was through T3. I developed that earnings strategy. Remember the earnings strategy that I do?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody, a programmer, reached out to me and said, can it be programmed? Because can I? And I said, that would be amazing. And so he and I worked together for a few months to get an algo programmed to manage the earnings plays the next day, and to do the tracking and to do the logging and all of that stuff. And so that was my first the first part of it. And then in 2020, somebody else, also a programmer, was started trading full time because everybody was working from home at that time, and decided to program one of my strategies. And I worked with him also on that, and so I have I do both.
Okay, so do you think that if you were starting out today, you would actually start with building an algo rather than the traditional route?
I'm not so sure. I'm not 100%. I'm not too sure. It could work both ways. It depends on what you naturally gravitate towards. But also, if you're going to develop an algo, you need to know what you're doing. Like, you have to have some trading. You have to have a trading background. You have to already have seen what works and what doesn't before you actually let a computer do the work for you. So that's why I'm not too sure that you can actually start off by jumping right into automated trading.
Okay, now obviously AI is a huge topic. Like, have you found any use for AI yet in your trading?
Let me think. So
I'll just jump in for a second because I see while you think, because I use AI a lot for data analysis, and it's shocking how many basic things it can get wrong, like earnings dates or what a stock price was on a certain day. Or, I mean, just yesterday, it told me the all-time high in the S&P 500 was like 4,400. So, like, AI definitely seems early stage, but like, are you looking at it at all to integrate it into your trading?
I use it all the time, every single day, and I have the pro version of ChatGPT for all kinds of stuff, tasks that I wouldn't want to do, like merging spreadsheets, merging tables, uh, doing things like that for me, and looking up information, writing a script. You can actually have ChatGPT write a script for you. So for whatever tasks that you like, routine tasks that you do, you can actually have ChatGPT write up a script for you so that it's automated. But have I integrated AI into my own trading where let's say AI picks the symbols for me, analyzes the symbols and picks the symbols for me? No, I haven't.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like a lot of the tools, like scanners and things, they're kind of already doing what AI would do.
Right. And now at some point, AI will get so good. It already is so good that maybe it will be like this, and becomes like this amazing scanner that would also maybe do the trading for you. Like you would find the stock and would say, would you like me to now enter a position into Tesla? Or you would just automate it completely. So at some point, I think that's where we're headed. But for the time being, I'm not there yet.
Yeah, it's interesting. Actually, yesterday I was playing with ChatGPT, and I was asking it to analyze charts in the style of Sami Abusaad. And so people know I'm not BSing. I did this for real yesterday. If you want me to analyze it, I said, if I asked you to analyze a stock chart in the style of Sami Abusaad, what would you need? So this kind of stuff is really interesting. But again, it's like, it can be a little funky with the details. But
interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, I find AI to be like a really, really, really smart but stupid intern at the same time.
Well, we don't have AGI yet, so that's the thing.
Do you think AGI is actually coming?
I think some form of it, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. Like almost. I think we're almost going to get there, but I don't know if we're ever going to get there.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes, like, the human brain itself can be like a program. We respond we respond to stimuli generally in certain ways. You know what? I'm for AI to make me laugh. I've tried to like have AI make jokes, write memes, like take these song lyrics and turn them into a joke about the stock market. It's never funny. I don't know. I'm a big doubter in AGI.
Yeah, I mean, my siblings just sent me a video yesterday of a picture of us when we were toddlers. And you can actually, I got the message on my phone, and you can turn the picture into a movie, into a little video clip. And so my older brother said, have you guys seen this video of us? And at the time, there was no video, probably. So we were all blown away. It's, again, a picture that he turned into a little video. And we were high-fiving each other, and I don't know what else we were doing. And it's just a picture, but he turned it into a little video clip. So, I mean, it can do amazing things for sure, but it's limited. It's like, right, it's limited. It's not, it doesn't have that all-encompassing, knowledge that people say it's gonna have at some point.
Yeah, maybe it's saying something beautiful about humanity, that it's there's still something inside us. It just does not get. But if there was one thing you wish AI could do for you in your trading, what would it be? Like, if you could just say, ChatGPT or whatever it is, do this task for me, and it could do it perfectly every time, what would it be?
I think it would be just like doing all the mundane tasks that I do. I still want to be in control. So I don't know that I would want have AI do the trading for me necessarily, but I would want it to like populate the charts for me, change the time frames, do certain tasks, which, to tell you the truth, I mean, I could probably have it done through a script. I mean, it's not like it can't be done, but that's what comes to mind. And at some point, I think, we'll have AI do the trading for us, and and I'll be okay with it. Just like I'm okay with the algo doing my trading for me.
Yeah, it's interesting though. There are so many people that are not comfortable with self-driving cars and self-driving semi-trucks. How comfortable would those people be with letting, an AI trade for them? That's what I think about. Because I do think people want, control.
Yeah, I think it also depends on whether you're risk averse or not. I used to be risk averse. I'm not at all anymore. I mean, I always said I'm risk averse, just naturally risk averse when I was in the early part of my trading, and I realized, and I went through a shift, unbeknownst to me, like without me being aware of it. I went through some kind of a shift where I'm not risk averse at all. So I think I would embrace it. Like if we got to the point where AI could do all the trading for us, I'd totally go for it.
Yeah, maybe we can set up something where you have to program it, but you can't look at it for a month. You just have to wait a month, and then you come back 30 days later, and
but it's not fun. It wouldn't be fun at that point.
Then maybe AI would take all the fun out of the market,
or out of life.
Oh, it really would. I think for all the conveniences, there's a lot of evidence that AI is rotting brains. I know it's happening to me. I can feel it because the most of my knowledge has come through mundane manual work, going through spreadsheets one cell at a time to analyze things, building data systems from scratch. That's how I learned. So I do think AI is rotting brains to some extent, which is
maybe your brain will be used for something more creative, but I don't know. Who knows? It's exciting time to be alive, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that is a great note to close on. So guys, we hope you enjoyed this conversation. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We will be on Spotify soon. But for now, YouTube is our home. And again, click the link down in the description below if you want to learn more about Sami's mentorship. So Sami, this has been fun as always. And thank you for giving me a brand new story.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Always good to talk to you, Mike.
All right. Thanks, Sami.